How to Watercolor 1.0, the basics. I have some watercolors here that I used last year, but you can see they're still in really good shape. The colors are still bright, they're not mixed together, and the reason for that is that when I use them, I always clean the brush off in the water before I go to a new color. So to get started, I need to get a little water on the brush and get it in the color that I want to start with. That loosens up the paint a little bit. And then go back in, maybe get a little more paint on the brush. And then just try it out and see what it's like. So it looks nice. And I can see that I don't have too much water because it's kind of staying in place. It's not just spreading out all over the paper. And I clean the brush off a little bit in the water, wipe it in the tissue, make sure it's clean, and I can go to another color. If it's a new color, I need to get some water on the brush. I can loosen up the paint, so get some in that blue there. And I'm just going to try that out, see what it looks like. Not bad, staying in place, so not too much water. Go back in, get a little more on there. And wow, I could see right away that just letting the water sit in the color for a moment and then going back in and getting a little more, I've got a much darker blue. So now I'm going to clean the brush off in the water. Wipe it into tissue, make sure it's clean. I want some orange, but I got to get a little water in the orange first. There we go. Loosen it up and try that out somewhere. So it's okay, it's not too much water, but it's very light. So like with that blue, I need to go back in and get a little bit more after it's been sitting there with the water for a moment, and the brush gets a little more paint on it. That looks a lot darker. Clean the brush off in the water, wipe it in the tissue, and I'm going to go back to the yellow. But notice that the yellow still stays yellow. There's no orange in there because I really cleaned it off in the water and wiped it in the brush. I didn't need to put any more water in the yellow because it already had some sitting in there, but it worked real nice. If anything, it got a little darker. So now I can go back to the orange, but notice I cleaned off the brush in the water, wiped it with a tissue. So I'm not mixing the colors. It's very important for keeping them nice. That orange is dried out a little bit. I need to get a little more water on the brush. There we go. And it's a little bit darker there too. Clean off the brush, wipe it with the tissue. I'm going to get a little water on there and try this purple. This purple is a little different. It's a little bit darker color, and so even the first time I put it on, it's pretty dark. But notice it's not too much water, it's not spilling out all over, it's staying where it is, and my colors are still looking good.